Hey everyone, welcome back to CyberSecurityTV. This week we're going to talk about the API penetration test. This is episode 2. Last time we talked about the introduction of the API. We talked about the tools and test cases that you'll be covering, and this SQL injection or the injection attack is one of them. So this week we're going to mostly focus on the demonstration of the one of the API which I've developed and how to test out the SQL injection using some tools like Postman and Burp. Right, so let's get into it. So the first thing is API last year at the OWASP conference, APSEC conference, OWASP introduced the API top 10, and the injection is on number 8. Of course, the injection is top in the OWASP top 10 web app, so injection is no matter very crucial for any application or the APIs. So here we're going to discuss what the injection attack is and how do we test out the SQL injection attack, right? Injection attack is straightforward, which we all know. It's like, by the definition of the OWASP, it is injection flows such as SQL, NoSQL, command injection, etc. And it occurs whenever there is an untrusted data that is sent to an interpreter as part of the command or a query. And the attacker's malicious data can trick the interpreter into the executing unintended commands or accessing data without proper authorization, which is similar definition what we have in the OWASP top 10. In this particular demo, to try it on the injection, we're going to use the Postman and Burp. Postman is where you would have most of the APIs. So whenever you have got a task to do the penetration test or API testing, the user or the developer might give you the Postman collection, which can load into the Postman and then connect with the Burp. We have a separate video on how to connect Postman and Burp, so we are not going to go into much detail on that. But we'll use Postman and Burp for the demonstration. All right, so let's that's it. Theoretically, let's jump on to the Postman and see how the injection attacks can be performed using the Burp on the APIs. So here is the Postman file, and as you can see, I have created one collection which is API pentest demo. I'll keep on adding the APIs here, for the future episodes when we try and demonstrate different attacks. In this is running on my local host, so as you can see, here is the IP address, and a request is pretty straightforward. So it has two parameters: format, JSON, and token, which is like a session token, you can imagine, right? So don't worry about how did you get the token or everything. There is another API which is a login API. Once you provide the user a password, it gives you the token. But we are not concerned about that API. We are concerned about this API where we pass the token information, and in return, you should get the user details which maps to the token. All right. So first off, what we want to do is we want to connect this with the Burp suite. So we'll go to the proxy. We'll add a custom proxy. This is settings we have done. And as we all know, we are not gonna go into much detail on how did we configure the proxy. We have a separate video on how to do that. So as you can see here, we have got the response. There was some issues with the localhost, but I think it's fixed now. So once you pass on the token, it will give you this is the same token which we have sent. And you can see we have the username, email ID, password, etc. in the clear text. Of course, that's a different issue. But right now we are more concerned about how do we get into more details from the database through this. So of course, it's not very convenient to test out in Postman. So for example, if I pass as a single quote or something, of course I'll get this data, but it's not very I think user friendly. If you need to do a scan or something to do with the security scan, you can do with the Burp, but not with the Postman. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the Burp suite here. We'll have the intercept on, and let's send this request. All right. So one thing we want to do is, and of course we want to use the full capability of the Burp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this one. And in the scan configuration, I'm going to say injection. And if you haven't seen the new demo of the Burp and how to use the scanner, make sure you check out the other videos we have done. So here, let's say we want to select just the intrusive issues, and which covers the all sort of injection. So I'm just gonna keep this one, hit save, and resource pool doesn't matter, like 10 concurrent request. Okay. All right. So we have started the scan for this one, right? As you can see here, injection. And if there is an SQL injection, it's gonna tell us. But let's also try to do it manually. So what I'm gonna do is let's send this request to the repeater, and just make sure. Now we don't need Postman anymore. We only needed Postman to send request to Burp, and now we can do all of things here. So let's try by supplying the single quote, and here we can see it doesn't give any error message or something, so we don't know if it's really vulnerable to SQL injection or not, right? But let's try our simple, payload, which we would always use. So, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this token. I'm going to say, or I would type, and instead of space, let's just do or, and then single quote 1, single quote is equal to what 1, right? So this is like a simple payload which you would do. And if we send the details, so that means even if we have not provided the right token, we got this detail. So that means our payload did work. And just to verify one more time, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so if the query is true, so for example, if I supply 2 here, it should return the first record in the data from the database, which is this one. Okay, so that means there is an SQL injection, right? And this is the simplest way. And this is not an error base, but this is like a sort of like a blind SQL injection, which hopefully Burp should also identify. And there we go. Burp also found this SQL injection. Let's see what it says. So let me maximize this window. All right, so Burp sent this request, right, or request, and it got. And if you want to simplify and see what this payload is, so this is simply encoded payload. So you do here, go here. So okay, so it sent this request, right, and we got the response as here. Now it sent another request where it said no data found, which this does not match, right? This is not equal, so that's why we did not get the data. And the third time, it looks like it's applied some slip command, and it may have got the response after a certain time, which it should say somewhere here. Yeah. So additionally, this payload was submitted in the token parameter. The application took this milliseconds to respond, compared with 10 milliseconds for original request, indicating that injector SQL commands caused a time delay. But here it also says, note that automated difference-based tests for SQL injection flows can often be unreliable, right? So this is, they're not sure. So that's why it's not, the confidence is not certain, it's firm. Are prone to false positive results. You should manually review reported requests, response, confirm whether vulnerability is actually present, which is, we confirm with in the repeater. So I'm going to set the to certain. And as you can see, the icon has changed. All right, so what else we can do, with what else we can supply? Now, previously, of course, the first thing with the blind SQL injection, you can use the union select, and then you determine how many columns does it has. And that's a simple, it's a trial and error sort of things, or you can use, I would say, SQL map for that. Now, in this one, to make it quick, I have already identified how many columns it has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the union select. Okay. Union select. Right. We're going to use 1, 2, and then let's say we're going to do version. We want to print the version information here, 3, 4, and 5. Then we'll comment out the additional, whatever the remainder we have, right? So here what we're going to do is we want to print each column, and the numbers would help us to map which column in the query maps to the results or the response. and it will print version into the third column. So instead of 3, we put the version. You can also put version in 1 or 2. We'll see that later on. So here, if I put the version here, as you can see, we got the version of my Ubuntu server here, and you can see the 2 is the email ID. So now if I replace this into, right, and I put the 3 here, I'll see in the email ID version is being printed, and this is the username, right? So this is how we know it's a vulnerable to SQL injection. Now we can also have other things extracted from here. So here what I'm doing is union select 1, 2, and in the third we are concatenating the table name from the information schema tables, which is by default comes with any database, MySQL database. So this is the details that we got. Now the same things you can easily automate using SQL map, which is, we are not going to cover the SQL injection in depth here, but the goal was to make sure here we can capture all the requests, and also once you load up the collection into the Postman, how you can send it to the Burp and use it for the scanning. So here we scanned it and we found out, okay, there is an SQL injection found by Burp Suite, and now we manually confirm, yeah, there is an SQL injection. We also exploited it. So that's the overall how you can test the SQL injection using the Postman and Burp. That's all I wanted to talk about today. And of course, if you have gone through use any other tools, and previously I also used like a SOAP UI, which has not been as great as Burp Suite, to be very honest. So I don't use it much. But Burp is, of course, once you get the request in Burp, you can do all sort of things. So, and hopefully in the future, Burp would allow importing API documentation straight away. But for now, we can obviously use Postman, which is very widely available tool for the developers. So that's it from here. Of course, I'll come back with the other attacks on the APIs and with the other examples. Till then, if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And make sure to comment and tell me what else would you like to see on this episodes, or also any other penetration testing related topics. I would be happy to do a video on that and make sure I can share as much knowledge as I have. If nothing, I'll see you guys next week, and with another interesting topic. Most likely we'll cover some XSS or any other interesting topic. I haven't decided yet, but that's what I've been planning to. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it down and I'll answer to your questions. Thank you. Bye.